My name is Tom O'Kelly. I am a singer, more specifically a tenor, and I'm from Belfast. And I am currently in my undergrad at the Royal Academy of Music in London. Before going to music college, my primary source of tuition was going to a singing teacher in Belfast who was absolutely fabulous, and I went to her for quite a number of years. I also was a chorister in a cathedral choir and did quite a lot of local theatre and different youth choirs and things like that. And of course, I was in all the school choirs and the school orchestra as well, although I wasn't quite so good at the cello as I am at singing. For A level, I did music, drama, and Spanish. Music and drama had always come really naturally to me, and certainly having that acting aspect of my education has served me really well as a singer because text is just as important as music. And in terms of doing Spanish, I'd always had a flair for languages growing up, and it has certainly served me really well when I have had to learn things like Italian and French during my undergrad. I think anyone who has auditioned at several conservatoires will agree that when you are in the right place, you feel a sort of glow and it feels right when you're there. For me, the RAM building it was just amazing and the location is obviously fabulous, but the main thing that drove it for me was the teaching style, and there were a couple of specific singing teachers that I was really, really eager to work with and study with. So that was probably the main thing that drove it for me. First and foremost, I would say get your application in on time because the deadline for conservatoires is way before regular UCAS deadlines. And also make sure your application is focused. Remember, you're not doing a general music degree, you're doing a performance degree in your specific instrument. So you need to be able to convey on paper how passionate you are about your instrument and how ready you are to take on full-time training for 4 years with the idea of having a career in that instrument after your degree. When I auditioned at RAM, I had to do an entrance exam which consisted of an essay where I talked about my programme for that day, and then I also had to label the figured bass and the harmonisation of a Bach cantata, which I had no clue how to do. And then I did my first round for a small panel. I went on to do an oral test, and then I had a second round for a different panel. And I would say do not stress about the analysis and the oral tests because all they're trying to do is gauge your ability so that if you do get in, they can stream you into the appropriate class. And do not stress if you don't get a second round because I know loads of people that got in having only one round and loads of people that didn't get in even after having 2 rounds. So don't worry about that. When it comes to choosing a teacher at RAM, usually what will happen is your head of department will email you and ask if you've had any preferences of what teacher you want. And so in order for you to have a good general knowledge, I would say that it's really important for you to organise as many consultation lessons with different teachers as possible. Personally, I went on the Academy website, found the vocal faculty list and went through all the teachers until I found a few that I thought would be a good fit for me. And then I found their emails through my prospective head of department and organised about 5 different consultation lessons until I found someone that I was really comfortable with going to. I am extremely lucky to be on a scholarship at Academy. It's not a full scholarship, but it really does help with my rent and living expenses. Although in the year before going to Academy, I entered at least 6 or 7 different competitions and bursary awards and was fortunate enough to win a few of them, which is the main thing that meant that when I got to first year, I was comfortable and didn't need to worry about expenses, at least for a few months. As a singer, it's really useful to become a choral scholar in a church because it means that you can keep up your sight reading at the weekend and you can earn a bit of money at the end of term. Also, I currently teach 2 days a week, which helps to pay for rent and living expenses as well. My favourite thing about being at a conservatoire, besides the fact that it's made me a much better musician than when I started, is that I am now surrounded by these like-minded people who I can be nerdy with about singing and nerdy with about music in general, and they are just as passionate about it as I am, and in fact they've made me more passionate about it. Student life in London is expensive, but it's also absolutely amazing. There is obviously a plethora of things to do, and because it's so big, you'll never run out of places to see, or places to eat, or places to go. Although I will say that it is really important to take a step back every now and then and reevaluate and make sure that you're using the city to its full potential and not letting it swallow you up, because sometimes that can happen. Moving from Belfast to London was a bit of a culture shock, mostly because of the sheer size difference between the two cities. You know, in Belfast, a 45-minute journey is thought of as like an absolute trek, whereas in London, that's pretty much the length of time it'll take to go anywhere. And I think although it's daunting at first, it's actually a really easy city to navigate, and you can get quite used to the London lifestyle very quickly. And because it's so multicultural, everyone can find a bit of home in this city, which is really nice.